Ladies, gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Chicago. I am delighted to officially say that we are opening the 2025 Hyrox World Championships. And what a way to do it, with all of you guys in this room and our very first inaugural press conference. We have got elite level athletes, we've got our partners, our friends, lots of familiar faces, and we're ready to get a very exciting and ambitious show on the road. We apologise, though, for the slight delay coming to you all. And we honestly just want to thank you for being here on this journey with us. It marks a really exciting start to what has been an incredible evolution of this great sport. I'd also like to say a quick thank you to the City of Chicago and the Navy Pier teams for helping us get this up and running. And of course, our sponsors, partners who have helped turn this week of racing already into a massive success. Before we invite our first athletes up onto the stage, I'm just going to run through a little bit of how this is going to work. We have got our elite level athletes who are going to come up in groups of 4 from the elite 15. And we've got about 25 minutes of questions, 10 by me and hopefully 15 by you guys out in the crowd. By all means, ask anything you like. These guys are utterly brilliant and we just want you guys to get to know them a little bit better before we get into a big weekend of racing. We are going to be speaking to our guys first, our male athletes, and our females after that. But before we get right into the thick of things, I wish to invite our founders, Moritz Fürster and Christian Tschuschke, up onto the stage because they have got some really big news to share.
The native speakers, finally.
The native speakers. Well, first and foremost, gentlemen, it is the World Championships. This is something special and something that we look forward to every single year. Christian, how much do you enjoy everything that this weekend is going to be about?
Yeah, very much so, of course. I was, on the way here, I thought about it, how every weekend we have 3-4 events going on. So this is a very special, different situation. So I feel the nervousness coming up. So we are all very much looking forward to the next 4 days of incredible racing. So yeah, it's a very, very special moment. And it's getting bigger every year. So I see that walking through the city of Chicago, and you see Hyrox athletes like everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I think getting bigger every year is an understatement. This is utterly spectacular. We've not even started yet. Mo, yourself, you're Olympic athlete. You've been to multiple world championships within your sport. What makes it so special for the athletes, for the spectators, for the cities?
Well, I still never had a press conference this big in my sport, so that's crazy. No, I mean, obviously, the World Champs were from the first year when we started. That was the idea, to always give the athletes that competed in that year the platform. A few of you were already part of that one even. I mean, we had one World Championships. There were literally 25 people, COVID times. I remember very well. And now standing here, sitting here, it's literally goosebumps for us as well. This is the biggest World Championships yet, obviously. We have almost 1,000 people working here on the weekend, like trying everything to make it as good as possible for all the athletes. And I mean, we're growing so fast. It's sometimes also for us as an organization difficult to keep up with the speed of the growth in order to make it as convenient as possible for everyone out there, because in the end, this is what it's all about. It's about creating the platform for the top athletes of the world in Hyrox to shine, and this is the weekend to really shine.
And I hear we have some rather big news regarding next season, Mo.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We have been working really a lot on this. It becomes very, very tricky. But we wanted to use the time today because most of you guys are very much concerned and affected by that. So we wanted to really announce the major and regional championships for next year. So the 7 cities that will host elite racing. We will always have elite singles and elite doubles in the same races. We will have 4 majors with 3 qualification slots each for World Championships, and then we have 3 regionals with 1 each. And the big new thing for next season will be that all these 3 regionals are only accessible for people that hold a passport of the region. So you can only race in one of the 3 championships. You will most definitely be able to race in at least one, but yeah, it's only that one that is applicable for you, the one you hold a passport for. So, yeah, the big news is the 4 major cities, and I wrote it down. That's why I have it paper here to not make any mistakes. We're really excited. Oh, by the way, we're really excited because the second update is that in the long run, we're trying to bring elite racing, obviously, to a level that is 100% a very, very familiar and comparable setup to the last degree. So in this season already, we will have 2 of the 4 races in extra venues next to the big venue that is only made for elite racing. This gives us some various opportunities to have the races on different times, because we don't have to basically put it into the race calendar of the weekend, and other benefits that are quite obvious, I guess. So the first one, and we're really excited about that, because the first major of next season will be in Hamburg, in Germany, in our hometown, where we have our HQ. And we're very excited. New venue, entire venue only made for elite racing. So that will be a major number 1. For the second major of the year, even in 25 already, we will go to Melbourne, and we will have exactly the same thing. We will have a venue only for that, next to the actual venue for the age groupers. And then we go into 2026, and we have 2 stadium events that are going to be major races. The first one is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, and the second is going to be in Warsaw in Poland. So that will be the 4 major races for next year. And then the regionals that I was talking about before are going to be in London, Brisbane, and Washington, D.C. And so that are the 7 elite racing cities for next year. Christian will tell you a little bit about the fact why we have, or maybe if you will, I won't spoiler it. But yeah, there are a lot of things coming. We are very much working on the elite racing part. We have, fortunately now, a really cool team of elite racers in our athletes committee, I would call it, supporting Matt Locke, our race director, elite racing, and all of us in making the right and smart decisions, moving this incredible sport forward. So yeah, long story short, we're really excited. That's the season, and I'm pretty sure I see all of you in the first row there, and hopefully many others that are watching now as well.
You going to follow that one?
I want to share at least also some news. So the reason why we are also going into an extra hall, which will be, and we're working on the setup of an elite racing setup, is that you all know we are following the Olympic dream. And to do that, you need to come up with a very consistent race format, which is of course also spectator friendly and is very easy to cover on television. And we think the solution is that we go into an extra hall where the field is much smaller than what we have tomorrow, and it's only designed for the 15 best male and 50 elite women's athletes or doubles. And you will learn more about how the setup will look like, but it will be very, very cool. And the reason why we have 2 events in Australia is because we're working hard on the Olympic dream, and we will start to lobbying to hopefully bring Hyrox into the Olympic Games 2032 in Brisbane. The process requires, of course, a lot of lobbying work, and I hope that everyone in this room will join us in. But that's why it makes a lot of sense to have 2 events in Australia, and apparently Brisbane is the host city, so to show them what we can do with the sport makes a lot of sense. But the real news about how this will work, we will announce probably before the end of the year or around the Melbourne event.
You've never had so much eye contact with James Kelly before.
Yeah, I see him smiling all the time. Joanna.
Okay, we're going to open this up to the floor. Are there any questions for Mo or Christian?
It's fine.
Could you clarify just quickly the part about you said the American, sorry, the map. I really don't need a microphone.
He speaks very loud, yeah.
But if it helps the folks at home. So you said what we used to call regionals, you gave them another name, I think. There's elite qualifiers coming from that and the 4 majors. Is that what you said?
Yes. At the 4 majors, there's 3 slots each for world championships, and then there's 1 slot each for the 3 regionals. But they are only for athletes with a passport from that region where the major is in.
So just the winner then?
Correct.
That is correct, Matt.
So
Yes.
so no LCQ then?
No. It's 15 slots, 4 through the majors and 1 each through the regionals.
But maybe to add, most of the elite events will be before the regionals, apparently when the winner is already qualified, let's say James already qualified at an elite race, and then you win the regionals, the spot will roll down. And I expect a longer, you're expecting a roll down for sure.
Any other questions from the floor?
Jake.
I was just going to ask, do you have the dates? Can you share the dates of the majors?
Soon.
He hasn't written them down on his piece of paper.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, is the process to get into the elites still going to be time-based? Or has any of that part changed?
No, nothing has changed on that end yet.
We've got time for...
There's one question over there.
Similar question, but for the elite doubles, the process this year was like the top 3 in the races. Is it going to change to time-based or still be like certain races in top 3?
Yeah, we will announce the qualification process for that one very soon, but it's going to be pretty similar to elite single racing.
Thank you.
No, there's one more.
We have one final question from the crowd. and then
Just
we'll-
in terms of 2032 Olympics, how far through the lobbying process are you?
I told you, be careful.
We are at the very beginning.
So have you met with Olympic officials?
Sorry?
Have you met with Olympic officials?
No, not yet.
Be careful.
No, we haven't met with Olympic officials, and we will announce more details before the end of the year.
Have you talked to David Crisafulli, the state's premier?
I have never heard the name before.
I'll give you his email.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, guys. And thank you very much, gentlemen. That's some big way to start our weekend. And now I'm delighted to say that you can go and take a
Thank you very
brief
much.
break. And let's invite up our Elite 15 male athletes, guys. If you'd like to come up to the stage for me. We have... Oh, you can choose your seats. So, Jake Dearden, James Kelly, Alex Ronchevich, and Hunter McIntyre joining me now. Similar process. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and then we'll open it up to the floor. Well, initially, JK, what do you make of that news?
I'm very excited. And I think, Joanna, you're pretty excited that we've got two championships down under next year.
Alex, you come into this as the defending champion. It's just an occasion, but something that you are the face of now. How excited are you to defend that title?
I'm always really excited being here. It's my third time in Chicago. It's my 6th World Championship, so I'm really looking forward to this race tomorrow.
Hunter, you have been in this game for a very, very long time. You've experienced the evolution of this sport.
He's the grandpa of the sport. I didn't know that
Hey,
he's done so many of these things.
I mean, if we're going to be honest, you're both quite grandpas of the sport.
He dyes his beard every time. Let's be honest about this. He has a mascara brush.
I mean, how much change have you seen? Even if we're talking about the last 4 years, it's pretty incredible.
Lighter sleds. But beyond that, I've seen a really impressive establishment in this sport. I mean, cameras are an addition. That's pretty cool. They're nice ones, too. It used to be filmed on iPhones. I mean, it's incredible. I met Christian in the Lower East Side wearing a daddy chain and an outfit, and now he wears Hyrox shirts, which is impressive. When I first met him, he was like a East Side pimp. But I will say it's very impressive what you guys have done with this sport. I would look at the top of the establishment and celebrate them at all times. You have no idea what it takes to build something of this size, and I'm honored to be able to compete with awesome athletes. But you got to thank Hyrox first. They're incredible.
Jake, you're the youngest athlete in the men's field. You've come into this as probably a slight newcomer compared to the rest. It's your debut at World Championships. What brought you into the sport in the first place? What captured you about Hyrox?
For me, just it being so accessible, to everyone. The fact that you can come with your friends and everyone can compete on the same day. It's just unbelievable. The chance that all the guys in the crowd, a lot of you will be competing this weekend, but you get to compete with the best as well. These guys, and I'm honoured to be part of that.
It's very much not just a sport anymore. It's how people train. It's how people are living their lives. I mean, JK, you're a coach not just to elite level athletes, but the community as well. How is it impacting lives?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, for one, it's impacted my life. 3 years ago, I was not an elite athlete, you know, and then now I'm not just an elite athlete, but I'm trying to be the best or one of the best Hyrox coaches out there that are trying to get everyone and anyone as fit as possible for their next Hyrox race. And yeah, Hyrox is its own, you know, like everyone trains for Hyrox, but I'm a big believer that anyone can actually achieve a Hyrox race by just training for all-round fitness, right? And yeah, I'm very lucky to be here as an elite athlete, but also a coach of a lot of people around the world.
What I love about your journey is you started as a roll down in Manchester, like someone who came in at the last possible minute. Last year, it was the last chance qualifier. And this year, we're talking about serious podium contender. That kind of journey that you have been on, how have you adapted to the needs of the sport and how's it bringing the best out of you?
I think, Lauren, all my life, like I've lived like an elite athlete, so I've always wanted to be here and live and breed like elite and professional sport. So I'll be honest, it's not really a new thing to me. Yeah, last year, and I was lucky and privileged to say that, you know, I came third last year, but that was last year. I'm here to do something different this year.
I love it. There's a couple of guys around you that are going to make it very hard for you this weekend, I can imagine. One of them, Alex Ronchevich. You have had your life completely changed in the last couple of years because of this sport, something that you started as a hobby many years ago. You've gone from teaching and being a swimming coach, and now I assume this is very much the full-time career. It must have impacted your lives in ways no one can imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everybody who knows me, like, is Hyrox has given me so much. A big thank you to Hyrox and all the people in there, especially also to the community. I've been at the end of my sporting career. I used to swim for 15 years. I was like at the end, and then just Hyrox came up, and I signed up. I immediately was like really good at it, and yeah, I'm sitting here like now 7 years later, and at the top. And yeah, I hope tomorrow night I'm gonna still be there.
Did you ever imagine that you'd be wearing a Red Bull hat on your head?
No, never. That was like always a dream to live that elite pro athlete life, and I wanted this in my 20s. Now I'm like in my 30s, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm trying to go for it for at least the next couple of years.
I love it. The depth in this field is absolutely insane, and it's just got deeper and deeper every single passing year. How difficult a job are these guys going to make, and the rest of the elite field?
I know these guys for quite a while, so it's never easy racing against them. So tomorrow is gonna be a very, very tough one, very strategy-wise, very hard one. We all are fit, so it's yeah, it's gonna lead to the end, like who has the best day, who has the better day, and for sure. Some are gonna try like to push hard from the very beginning. Some will try to come up later. So you need to think of all of them, and yeah, we know each other all pretty well. So it's gonna be a nice race and a nice one to watch for sure.
Who's going off hot?
I can't say too much, but I think like some of the European guys.
Hunter McIntyre, ever the showman. Are you the man to beat?
Tiny Tim's back there. Don't forget about him. You should get him a booster chair and put him next to me.
He loves that nickname.
Yeah, Tiny Tim's fast and dangerous. Everyone here is very talented. I think you'd make a mistake by showing up to a World Championships and not believing in yourself. I think, you know, anybody who's watching this from a camera and say you want to have the same path as us, I think you should always show up believing you're going to be a world champion, or put the world champion effort in. And if people pass you, it's an honorable death, like a samurai kind of thing. Yeah, dude. Like I want to beat everyone's ass. Like your ass, your ass, your ass. I respect all of you to a degree, but I have to respect myself first. You know, I've been doing this for 15 years. It's crazy. It is crazy to think that I used to run mud runs and then lift weights, and now I run and lift weights. It's a crazy cycle to be a part of. Like as he said, like we didn't even know this was a professional career back in the day. I don't think YouTube existed when we started. And now you can watch your heroes. You can be your hero through YouTube now. So, yeah, man, I want to win. It's gonna be wild up there. It's gonna be juicy. I'm gonna be one of the guys running up front if you haven't figured this out yet. Especially you, Tiny Tim. You've been looking at my back the whole time.
An opportunity to be a 4-time world champion. What does that mean to you?
Oh, dude, I could go like this. That'd be pretty cool. I've only done this so far. You know, I would probably use it to take a big break and check out some other aspects of life. Not like a retirement kind of thing, but more so from the standpoint of like, dude, I've been living in a cabin chopping wood, and my only people have hung out with chipmunks for the past couple weeks. I'm not even kidding. I literally don't do anything but exercise. I want to see the world from outside of the snow globe, if you know what I mean. But first, I'd probably thank my mom and my dad and my brother who are coming. That'd be pretty exciting. And then I'd wink at Tiny Tim.
If there's one thing we're taking away from this press conference, as the sport's grown, has your approach to training changed?
I think we all want it to be something different than it really is. Run a lot, do a lot of burpees, and then chuck a wall ball. I tried to do something different, and it didn't work out so well. I always am like looking at pieces of paper, trying to figure it out. But in reality, like, show up your strongest, show up your fastest, do your best. I believe in what's called bookend training. Be as strong as you possibly can, be as fast as you possibly can, kick everybody's ass in between. And I love that. Like, that gives me the opportunity. If they called me for football tomorrow, I'd fight. Marathon, I'd run, swim, whatever. I love it. But Hyrox, probably we are the slowest iteration of what you're going to see of this sport. We are going to be old, dusty men in a couple years. So make use of it while you can, boys. There's another generation coming.
The other generation's on the far end of the table.
I don't know. Jake's looking pretty old.
I mean, Jake, you've developed through kind of the biggest, or one of the biggest markets in Hyrox in the UK. How do you think that gave you a kind of a good starting point to become the elite 15 athlete that you are today?
Yeah, 100%, because I feel like anyone that knows the UK, I think it's one of the most stacked kind of countries out there for Hyrox. Like, you know, you go to any race and you've got big competition. So yeah, I think that's, you know, helps me train and humble me in certain situations as well. But yeah, just kind of, you know, learning from the best, learning from these guys, like that's what's helped me the most, and I'm super grateful for that.
Debutant, how's the experience going so far?
What, sorry?
Debutant, your first ever time at World Championships.
Yeah, I think
in the elite field.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm nervous, definitely nervous, but you know, just super excited, super grateful to be here, and hopefully we can, you know, get some results.
Why should these guys be worried?
I honestly, I look up to these guys, but I think the whole field is stacked. Like, there's not one person. You look down the list, and you know, you look at the data from every single person, and every person out there could win. Like, you know, these guys might argue that, but I truly believe that every person could have a shot.
Amazing stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, open floor for questions. You're telling me there's not one person who wants to ask a question to one of these four lads? There we go. Amazing.
Were you aware of the changes that are coming in with regards to needing to hold a passport in a qualifying race that was just announced, and how do you guys feel about that?
I'm completely in the dark.
Yeah, completely in the dark. But
so confused.
It just came up previously.
Yeah, completely in the dark. But also, if I stand corrected, we only need a passport for the regional championship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
In my eyes, there's change. There's 7 major races. Exciting because it's just growing. I'm excited for it.
I think for us guys, hopefully it doesn't change. Like we should be done and dusted before that. We should be have our ticket before them final races come on. But I think it's personally I think it's super exciting. I think that you do have the regional ones and there's only one winner. It makes it so interesting. Like I don't know if anyone watched the Last Chance qualifier, but it was an incredible race. People were saying that was better to watch than the majors. Like you getting that 3 times over. It's a great experience.
Well said. I think it's quite exciting because it's what we've had already plus some more, which is very cool. We've got anyone else out in the crowd?
We can take one from the live stream from Weatherall Parafit. To any of the athletes, what is your biggest driver mentally when you're in the pain cave and up against it? Aside from the desire to win, what is the one strongest motive to never give up?
Should we go Alex and then Hunter?
For me, it's obviously my long sporting career because as a swimmer, I couldn't be at this level. I've never been a pro swimmer back in the time. For me, I was pretty good and for national level, but never made this big step. And now, as I'm at this level, being really on the top, I'm always remembering that the hard work back in the days helped me to be there where I'm now, and that's what I'm always thinking back of.
Hunter, you know that feeling.
Now, mine's a lot more simple. I always said to myself, there's nothing sexier than being a champion. I think if you can put that in your mind, you unlock a lot of potential. I mean, pain, it should hurt. Don't confuse yourself. It should not be hard because you trained right. It should hurt, though. If anybody thinks they're going to go into this, it's not going to hurt, you're dead wrong. I mean, we've all been there. We want to be there. So ultimately, I don't look at any of this kind of stuff. I probably have some ugly pictures out there on Hyrox. Don't post them. But I knew I was going to be there, and I've been there before. And I always think about how exciting it is going to be at the end of this, sharing that moment from the perspective of being a champion. So that's all I really think of.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool answer. Great shirt. I feel, JK, you have put yourself in that position many a time.
Yeah, absolutely. Stemming on from what Hunter said, though, it's meant to hurt. Why are we doing this if it's not going to hurt? But what is? I'm laughing because I'm about to say what is pain, right? What actually is it? Is it your perception of pain that is actually really important? And that's what I believe. It's how you actually view what is pain that's more important than the pain itself. I don't really answer the question, but that's how I think to myself. It's not really it's not really a thing.
I wish it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I think we've all signed up to be athletes, and it's just our job to get the work done. Taking all emotion out of it, it's our job to perform. And then just looking back at all the hundreds of hours of training that you've done, you've been in more pain in training sometimes, but it's all leading up to that day. And normally, there's probably times in training where you want to quit more than the race when you're suffering. Everyone's probably been there as an athlete. When you want to quit in training. So you just look back to them times and think this is why I went through that pain in the first place, to perform.
We had a question out in the crowd. Nice work, gang.
Having a good time. Hungry.
Hi. Just for someone who maybe has heard their friend did Hyrox or their brother did Hyrox, when you guys are saying that, it's your whole life now, can you just explain exactly what that involves for you day to day and what you've had to kind of sacrifice for? Have you had to sacrifice other forms of fitness that you love or sports that you love to fully focus on this and be the best at it?
Hunter, do you want to take this one?
Did you give up the pool? I like riding my bike. I had to give that up, which is super sad. It's one of these kind of things where I consider myself to be a dynamic man. I don't want to be remembered for Hyrox. I want to be remembered for being Hunter McIntyre. And I did Hyrox. So I didn't really give up much. I drink less, which is kind of boring. But I think one of these kind of things, when you become excellent at something, like professional golfers probably don't bowl that often. Like, you probably bowl every once in a while with your friends. But the point is like, yeah, the more focused you get, the better you get, the more you're going to want to give to it, the more exciting it should be, the more it should give back every time you do it. And that's part of the human experience. Like, you start to get good. Like, when I first tried surfing, I sucked so bad I was embarrassed to be in the water. And then once I started standing up, it was something that was magical. That is the human experience of doing sport like this. And when you're at the very, very top, 1 second feels like a gold chain. It's amazing. And it's something that's opportunistic, and it's something that challenges us. And you're not sacrificing anything. You're fucking gaining something, which is pretty cool.
Jake, I feel this is something that you kind of have grappled with in the last year, because I know you love your marathons and doing crazy things. Yeah. How have you balanced kind of the enjoyment of sport and being professional in this one?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best person to. I have made mistakes, especially this season. Like, do you know, I pulled out of a major, Hong Kong, because I was injured from doing stupid stuff. So, yeah, I think if you want to be the best, you have got to make sacrifices. You know, people obviously always talk about balance. There's very little balance. Like, your number one goal and priority must be Hyrox if you want to become the best. Do you know, that comes above relationships, unfortunately. Do you know, above, well, it can, do you know, mess with friendships and so on. Like, it's got to, you've got to have the desire to want to do that. But as long as you surround yourself with the right people that support that, then you're good.
I feel like that's actually a really big thing in the sport, finding the group of people around you that are on the same direction that you are, and something, JK, that you have kind of really hit the nail on the head with, pardon the expression, in the last few years.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm lucky to call myself a coach of this sport, and I'm lucky enough to coach 2 of the elite women that are racing tomorrow night as well. You know, relationships is what drives well, everyone, I believe, and it drives me to do what I do as an athlete, but also just as a human being, right? Like, if it wasn't for my relationships, you know, Georgie, my fiance, my sister who's in the crowd as well, you know, Joanna and Jess Petro, you know, what would be the point, right? In my eyes. And yeah, you know, there's sacrifices, but I don't know, like, there's something that comes over me that says, like, it's not a sacrifice because we want to be here. Like, there's no other choice, you know. There's no choice but to get up and go for that run. There's no choice but to eat well, eat clean, because that's exactly what I want to do. So having the support system around you is everything. I wouldn't be able to do it without Georgie, but it's, you know, it's not really a sacrifice in my eyes.
We'll take one more question from the live stream. And this comes from Ryan Theory, who wants to know what JK's thoughts are going to be mid-race, looking ahead and seeing Hunter Sheriff's shoulders just
so
out of
funny.
distance.
This was a setup, wasn't it? Ryan Theory and Hunter definitely
Ryan's
did this.
a good friend of mine. I have to admit. I didn't set it up, but it's pretty funny.
He must be as, yeah.
Don't hurt Ryan's feelings.
No, I was
Sweet
not
boy.
gonna hurt.
Sweet, innocent boy.
He's got a loud mouth like Hunter Boy then.
Oh.
You know? he's
Put the
as
shots on me.
insecure
Don't
as
hurt
you then,
Ryan.
bro.
I'll take it for him. That sweet boy.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hunter, one of the questions that kept coming up throughout the season is like, who's going to win World Champs, right?
Yeah.
And so what I kept hearing from H Group is Hunter will never be back on top of the game.
Oh.
What's your response to that?
Fuck. No, I'm kidding. You know, you're an idiot. How about that? You know, that's opinions. Everyone's got one. I mean, dude, we've been doing this such a long time. I have lost before. You know, I hadn't lose for a long time. That was pretty freaking sweet. And I've lost a couple times this season. It's not so great. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could win again. I got other hobbies. But whatever. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You don't get any drinks for me at the bar. How about that? Jerks.
Did you learn more from the losses or the wins?
Dude, that's such a Tom Brady line. It feels freaking sweet to win, but you learn more from losses. Losses are one of these kind of things that just like echo and create such a shift in you. Like the world looks different after an earthquake, okay? That's what it feels like to lose when you're really on top. And then guess what? After the biggest burns in California, the biggest flowers grow. That's a very interesting thing I learned. And if you can take that perspective through life, you can be a champion. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Lovely stuff, gents. I feel like that's quite a nice way to wrap things up. And we cannot wait to see you out on the floor tomorrow. It is going to be mildly terrifying, but also wonderful.
Yep.
I'm excited to see this battle unfold.
Good luck, Chief.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
So, as we let the men settle in, we get to welcome our wonderful Elite 15 women to the stage. Ladies. Who's going to initiate the trash talking?
Oh, we don't have a Hunter McIntyre. You're on his seat now, so.
Yeah. You should have let the girls go first. I don't think we can follow that.
Okay, so I am delighted to be joined by Joanna Wettrick, by Emily Darnham, and Lauren Weeks, and Vivian Tafuto. This wonderful group of women have been through the highs and lows the last couple of years. Obviously, Lauren, you're going for your potentially 4th World Championship. Like, when that gets said out loud, can you even begin to encapsulate what you have achieved in the sport?
I mean, I am incredibly grateful for every race I've gotten to do. I don't take for granted all of the accomplishments that I've had. And tomorrow's going to be, it's probably the most stacked lineup that I've ever seen in the past 6 years that I've been doing this. And there are 3 girls, one of them sitting in front of me, that I haven't even gotten to race yet. But I've seen, like, your last chance qualifier, and actually one at the table too. Like, both of them, like, incredibly strong athletes. So normally I come in and I know everybody's game plan and what they're going to do and, like, where their strengths and weaknesses are. I don't know yours, and that's exciting. So I'm excited to race both of you tomorrow.
For those watching on the live stream, she's talking to Sinead Bent in the crowd. Emily, when you won the last chance qualifier, I'm not sure you expected to be sat at a press conference table at your first World Championships.
No, not at all. Actually, a year ago, I didn't even know what Hyrox was. Because I got a free ticket for a race after doing some volunteer work in Rotterdam last year for an extra assignment for school. So I just joined a Hyrox because of a free ticket with no expectations, no specific training, nothing at all. I won the race in Amsterdam, which made me think like, oh, well, I might just start doing this. I had like 48 hours to decide if I wanted to go to Worlds just for the under 24 category. And I was like, well, let's go. I started training for it and won quite a few other pro races again. I did 2 pro races before. And then I saw some videos about the last chance qualifier in Barcelona. And I just randomly signed up because I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. Just go there. But no one expected me to win, me neither. So I went there with only my dad. And, well, he flew in the day of the race and he flew back the same day. And I had one friend with me and I just came first there without any expectations. And now my whole life is going crazy and I'm sitting here next to world champions and stuff, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
You missed out the part where your volunteer work in Rotterdam Hyrox was chopping the apples to give to the community as they crossed the finish line.
Yes, and filling these water, like cups of water, and take off these dirty tags of people's ankles. That's what I did for 8 hours straight. Yeah, and now I came here, so a big difference, I think. But it was worth it.
It definitely was worth it. Joanna, you have been brand new to the sport this season. You've come from a tennis background, so a whole heap of kind of professional success How has that helped you transition into the sport, and how much do you attribute to that, to the dominance that we've seen from you this season?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, I did grow up as a tennis player, so I have been in that elite setting my whole life, and I've always had that mindset to be the highest in whatever I'm doing and train like a professional athlete. And I feel like I've kind of manifested being in this seat right now because I've always viewed myself to be a pro athlete in some way, shape or form. Didn't know it was going to be Hyrox because like you, a year ago I didn't even know Hyrox was a sport. So I think we have a very similar story after hearing yours. But yeah, it's pretty cool to essentially, a year ago my life looked completely different, and now we're gonna all, us 4 girls plus another 11 out there tomorrow, are now my first World Championships, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
First World Championships.
Yeah.
How different does it feel if we make the comparison to what we've experienced through the major season? How different do you feel?
Oh, I said this actually to my team just before. I feel like a little kid in a candy store. Like I'm looking around, there's these shining lights and everything's set up so professionally and so much bigger than a major. So it looks pretty awesome. And I know that even experiencing the Australian races, race after race, it just keeps getting better and better and bigger. So this, I feel like tomorrow and the rest of the weekend will just be a million times bigger than a major race. So I'm very, very excited. A little bit nervous, but very excited.
Amazing. Vivian, I also know you're a little bit surprised to be sat up here.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. But I'll talk.
Oh, we know that. You have been in and around this sport for as long as...
Dude, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I went to my first Hyrox and I won. Let me tell you, my first Hyrox, I wanted to fake an injury and quit. I'm not kidding. I've thought about it multiple times. Yeah, my first race was a 126, so put that into context, my time in Glasgow was 59 minutes. So very, very stark difference between me and these guys over here. Not mad about it though.
But how incredible is that through the course of your career, you've shaved off the best part of half an hour from your race time? And to me, that says if I was a community athlete watching, that could be possible with hard work for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big learning curve starting in the sport to now about our training methods. And like when I showed up to that race, I think I had stress fractures in my shins, so I was running like 5 miles a week. Now I'm running 60 miles a week, so just a big difference in training, step up in training. Things are different. Sleds are not what they used to be, which helps. But yeah, I think it does speak to just the ability of a lot of people to kind of, the more time that you put in, the more you can get out, and whether that means that you end up here or just like the best version of yourself. I think that's a cool thing about Hyrox is like that you're really just racing yourself. And even up in this elite field, right, like I don't want my definition of success or my happiness to depend on how other people do. I can't control that. So just kind of building and trying to race myself and get better, I think is super fulfilling, and I think calls to a lot of people, which is why Hyrox continues to grow.
I heard the secret to success is M&Ms.
Yeah, that's my sister. I go on trips, and on these trips they give us trail mix, and me and my dad just pour pounds of M&Ms into our bags, and we just eat absurd amounts of M&Ms. So that's where that comes from.
I mean, Lauren, you started pretty much when the sport did. You've seen this evolution firsthand. And when we sit here at World Championships and we've got, you know, teenagers alongside us putting down the same times as the kind of the establishment, what does that tell you about where this sport could potentially go?
So to take you back to my first World Championship, I was on the start line with 5 other women. And if you listened to Mo earlier, there were maybe 25 people in that entire venue. No music. I don't know, maybe there were 5 cameras, I'm not sure. And to like get close enough, they'd follow you behind the rower, so close that sometimes you would pull and I would like knock the cameraman behind me. So to see it go from like 25 people in one venue to, I don't know, this weekend, what's the number count? Are we over 20,000? How many people? 6,000? 6,000 athletes competing? Like that is just astronomical growth that I definitely couldn't have predicted, and I don't think anybody else could have either.
being the face of something like that, something that is tangibly impacting people's lives? How special is that?
I mean, it's special just in that, like, not just myself, but everybody in this room, like, has an opportunity to affect multiple and, like, beyond multiple lives. Like, I can't put a numerical value on it, but, like, sitting here, like, we do have an opportunity to continue to help shape the sport. Like, it's still in its infancy, and what we do today, how we carry ourselves tomorrow, will have an impact. And I think that's important to remember.
One of the most incredible things about your story is kind of coinciding with your daughter Lily, and how throughout pregnancy you raced. And it's the only time you didn't step on a podium, if I've got that correctly. And then obviously once Lily was born, you continued to race, and you're setting an example for little girls, but also for women who think they might hit a point in their athletic career and it might end. How important is it for you to trailblaze that message? And how are we seeing that in the sport? Because we see it in the community now.
Right. So that's actually kind of hard, because it's probably one of the most controversial things I've done in my entire life. I'm usually very by the book in everything I do. And that was not entirely accepted. But I believed full-heartedly that, like, I should do it, that I should show that I am capable of, like, continuing to move and exercise. And there isn't, like, this stopping point where you just have to stop working out or stop moving, and it could actually be worse for you in the long run. Like, I really believe that me continuing, not to compete, but to continue moving and exercising and working out allowed me to have a better recovery postpartum. And I just wanted to be an example to show that that is possible. Not that you should do it, like, yes, follow your doctor's guidances, but that it is an avenue and it's possible, and it's something that could actually make you healthier.
No, it was incredible, by the way. Ladies, this is the biggest race of the year, and when you line up, and I know to an extent you've both experienced this with such a deep field of athletes around you, what are you telling yourself on that start line?
I'll go first. Well, I think, obviously you are in the same boat as me. This is our debut World Championships, and first season in Hyrox. So honestly, like, from my sense, I've got nothing to lose. So I'm just going to go out there, and I've raced multiple races and elite races this season. So I do have the confidence in me to do the very best that I can. But I believe that if I've got nothing to lose, don't put overly too much pressure on it. Just go out there, have fun, race hard, and the rest will speak for itself.
I think I have a little bit of the same. Well, I didn't have like 4 majors before, but I do still feel like it's only once that you get to do this for the first time. I'm gonna enjoy while being in pain, and yeah, I think I just gotta enjoy the moment and look around me, look at the cameras and all the people, and I hope they will make me go faster. And I have nothing to lose as well. I mean, nobody knows me. I don't know myself either. So I will see. Yeah.
They'll know you after tomorrow night.
Yeah, okay.
If they don't already.
Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, any questions from the audience? You're welcome to put your hand up. We'll get a microphone over to you.
One of the best things about this sport, I feel, with Hyrox is that people want to watch the females just as much as the males. I'd love to know from your perspectives why you think that is. What is it about the sport of Hyrox that is so attractive to so many elite females out there?
I mean, I can't say this for every sport, but, like, in terms of sports where there's, like, time-based, I think the gap, in terms of the gap between, like, the men and the women's field, is much smaller than what you see in some other, in other sports. So I think it's just more entertaining knowing that the race is close, both, like, in the women's field and in the men's field.
How much time do you think there's still? Potentially a question for our younger generation, but how much time do you reckon, as a world record holder, we could still see come off?
So I'm 35 right now. Joanne, I think you're 23, right? And then
20.
And 20. right?
Yeah.
Emily, you're 20. So I'm probably pretty close to about as fast as I can get. Like maybe there's like a minute or so there. But like these girls have years and years and years to go. So I think you'll probably be seeing them dropping under that like 55 mark. If the new turf is similar to the carpets, of course.
How are we feeling about the new turf, guys? We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, well, honestly, none of us has seen it, and there has been a lot of, a little bit of controversy around it and talk and everything, because it is a new turf essentially. So we're only used to what we're normally racing on. So again, like none of us really know, and like talking to the team and everyone behind the scenes, they have thoroughly tested this turf to be as replicable as the turf that we currently use. So honestly, like, it's going to be the same for everyone out there. So the turf will be the turf that it is. If it's faster, if it's slower, who knows? But it'll be the same. So I am not really thinking too much about it, honestly, until you just brought it up just then. I've forgotten about it. So
I apologise.
Yeah, now I'll get
No, it's
nervous
my
about it. Nah, but yeah, I trust the Hyrox team and everyone behind the scenes that they have chosen the turf to be as similar as possible, and it won't change too much with the sport.
I think either way, we're going to be seeing you girls under 55 at some point.
Maybe in 3 years' time or so.
You guys have had the most incredible battle all season. How's that going to play out on a World Championships floor?
Do you mean Lauren and I?
You and Lauren.
Oh.
I mean, let's go back to Glasgow and how much you pushed each other, which ultimately led to Lauren taking a new world record or breaking your own world record. You're getting the best out of each other out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually had this conversation quite a lot every time we've raced this season, whether it's Lauren coming out on top or myself. It's been really, really cool to obviously see our progression as the season goes on. I know it's still my first season, but Lauren, like, you've obviously done this for a number of years and you're still improving, which is so amazing to see from my perspective. Being so young to obviously see your improvement as someone who's been so, like, well experienced in the sport. And honestly, like in Glasgow, I think I said to you after the race, like if you weren't there beside me, I don't think I'd ever achieve a time like that. So yeah.
No, I mean, she's exactly right. Like because this is a time-based sport, there's just no way to push yourself to that limit without having the people around you also pushing that hard. So like if I didn't have Joanna pushing me for the entirety of that race, like I probably would have been a minute off of that time. Like, I don't think it would have been even close.
By all means, any questions from the floor, please just raise your hand and we'll get amazing. While that heads over there, Vivian, you're like the funniest, friendliest, most brilliant character in the female field. But there's a switch. When you get to race day and you're on the start line, how do you make that mental switch?
I don't know which one's real. I mean, I think there's both like the friendly fun. I mean, I'm here for a good time is what I tell myself like half the time, but like I think at my core I'm a very, very competitive person and I have no problem trying to race people when it's the time. But I think like part of maybe being one of the older people now and kind of being around the block with competitive things, I feel like I've just learned that you don't have to be super competitive all the time. Like it's an easy switch to flip, and then I try to just enjoy the whole experience as much as I can because there's not a whole lot tying me here besides like my own will to do well, and I want to make the experience enjoyable, and that'll keep me coming back. So try to make things fun, and then when it's time to go, you just go because it's what you're here for.
A lot of the girls and the guys, the elite individuals, are also racing other races over the weekend. Like, one, how do you manage like multiple back-to-back races? And two, do you think that'll continue over the years, or do you think there'll be like special, like ones that go for individual, ones that go for doubles, ones that go for relay?
Well, first, definitely ask me that question after the weekend. I'll let you know how it worked. But for me, I packed like a whole extra bag of recovery stuff, like a whole, check bag of recovery stuff. Sorry, I'll let you go. I have to cough.
when I've done multiple races, like, I mean, we train so much, and then we come here and we're just like, I have a hard time sleeping around taper because we're just very full of energy, and I think like we train to be able to continue to work day in and day out, and I think that helps. The other recovery things, the sleep is what's really difficult. It's very hard to sleep the night after an elite race. I don't drink coffee, but I take caffeine pills before the race, and I do not sleep. So that's probably one of the hardest things. But like Lauren said, recovery techniques when you can. Eating a lot is very important. I've noticed that like that really determines how sore I am the next few days. So even though your stomach's pretty messed up after the races, that's a pretty critical one. And what else do you think, Lauren?
I just wanted to touch on the other part of her question where she asked if she thought we'd be doing it in the future. And from the information that we heard at the beginning of this conference in terms of like potentially moving to the Olympics, like my brain immediately thought, well, if I want to do this and as I continue to age, it'll probably be easier for me in the doubles. Like I need to make sure that I'm finding a partner that is of the same nationality of me. So like, yeah, maybe I'm trying to continue to do both, but like I also like brain thought process was like, okay, what American am I looking for?
I think also from like the way that this sport is evolving, like with the elite doubles introduction now, like I think that's also very much kind of going towards different sort of Hyrox athletes. Like you've got the people that are a bit more in like endurance focused that are just for singles, and then you've got people that are a bit more CrossFit-y like, and they can kind of have those short bursts for the doubles. So I think the way that the sport will evolve, you know, you might get like kind of like tennis in a way that you kind of just get doubles players and just get singles players, and there will be people that cross over with both. Like someone like me will want to do it all. So definitely like that will probably naturally evolve with the way that the sport is going.
Maybe a follow on to that, there have been a lot of questions online about the Olympics, funnily enough, but how does it feel that this journey could lead to being an Olympian, and does that change your mindset going into races and how you approach your careers?
Emily?
Okay, well, I think the whole thing gets even more exciting hearing that. I've been dreaming of becoming an elite athlete for my whole life, but I didn't really know in what kind of sports. I tried field hockey, tennis, and I was doing fine, but I wasn't that good. But then I found Hyrox, and I think it's amazing if this sport would actually become an Olympic sport, because then some people around you don't know what Hyrox is, and it's really annoying. I think we all know that. And they're like, what sport are you doing? I'm like, Hyrox. They're like, huh? I'm like, Hyrox. So I would love it if it would become like a really big thing so that everyone would actually know it, and I don't have to explain this to everyone anymore because it takes hours. It's like 8K, 8 times 1K, and then a few stations in between, you know, I think.
1,000 meters on the skier, 1,000 meters on the rower.
And we all know it, but some people don't, and I think that has to change. Yeah.
I love it.
Maybe one more from online, and this is a little bit of specifics about tomorrow regarding the course. What do you guys think of the course? Does the longer first run leg change anything, and how you approach the set off tomorrow?
I am always a fan of the multiple lap courses because I'm not one of the best runners. So the best way for me to slow other people down is for them to have to turn more. So I'm all about it. The same thing with the first run, right? We're all very fresh, and I like to run with other people on the track. You can kind of tell how fast you're going better when there's other people around. And when I'm just running by myself, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just out there trying my best. But you know, it's one of those things where everybody has the same set of conditions, right? So I think like you just kind of have to deal with it. And yeah, and just I think like maybe a big character trait I think that is helpful for like the elite athlete is taking anything that happens and being able to delude yourself into thinking that that's a good thing for you. So whatever conditions happen, I'm like, okay, that's great for me. So that's how I approach it, and how I approach kind of a lot of the things that come at you with this, with some of the unpredictability or new things. Delusion.
But mindset is such a big thing. So how do you best prepare yourself, Lauren, and all the experience that you have for a race like this and not let occasions overwhelm?
So I have a bad habit of race brain. So for me, it's a visualization, and not in terms of like where I'm going to place, but I actually have to visualize, okay, how many laps am I running? Where's the in arch? Which way do I turn to get to the ski erg? How do I turn to get out of it? Which I did mess up in the last race. Like I went the wrong direction. So that's for me. I have to play it out in my head before I go, of like all the turns I have to make, because even when I do play it out, like I still make mistakes.
Yeah, we have time for one more question.
We'll do one more from online. And Lauren, this is to you from Emily Waldman. Lauren, when you heard that Meg pulled out of Worlds, what were your thoughts as team captain for relay? What made you choose Vivian to replace Meg? And I guess for all of you who are racing without Meg in the field.
That is a lot of questions. First, I was heartbroken for her, but one, like, we all know, everybody sitting here knows how much effort and how much work we have to put in just for training on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. But on top of that, like, she's had to do rehab, which I'm sure is hours and hours a day on top of her training. And she's been working really hard this whole time to be able to get back to race tomorrow. So to be able to not be able to step onto the floor, like, I'm heartbroken for her. Like, I can't imagine all the work she's put in to not be able to race. And then selfishly, like, I'm sad that she's not, because I picked her for the team. And while I have an amazing teammate still right here with Vivian, like, I did want Meg on the team, and I thought she would have been a great representation for the country, and I'm sad she's not on it, but I am very grateful to have you, Vivian.
Just get us some M&Ms. Should be good to go.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't very excited when I asked her to be on the team. So hold on, let me ask my parents if it's okay.
Well, they're all coming, and I also am supposed to work on Friday, so.
Amazing stuff. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Again, we cannot wait to see you guys throw down. It's tomorrow night. I can't even believe I'm saying that. But we are going to kick off the World Championships 2025. And we're going to be crowning a brand new world champion only a couple of hours later than the time we are right now. Crazy. So you guys better go and get a good night's sleep. If you, Thank you so much for your time. And thank you guys out there for taking the time to send in questions and to get to know our incredible Elite 15 athletes that little bit better. If you have joined us on the live stream, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow because, of course, the Elite 15 women's and men's race is going to be live on all of our channels. We can't wait to see you there. But for now, we'll leave you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch you soon.